I think it's fair to say that we unreservedly love Mercedes-Benz's E-Class saloon at the moment. It's big, it's a very good looking car, it's excellent to drive, fantastic quality, and a really truly beautiful and beautifully made interior. Which leads to the difficult question for this E-Class Coupe, and that question is, should you spend more to get less, and indeed to get fewer, because you get less interior space, you get fewer doors, you get less practicality, and you do get, I suppose, more beautiful styling. This is a very, very good looking car with that big concave grille, with those lovely sculpted headlights, little slim tail lights, the way that the roof sweeps down into the rear three quarters. It is a very, very good looking car. But are those looks enough to justify the price hike? Because this car, it's an E200d diesel, it's in the AMG line trim, and as it sits under me with a few, more than a few, optional extras, it's costing €70,000. Now, it certainly wouldn't be difficult to spend €70,000 on your E-Class saloon, but generally speaking, the four-door does represent much, much better value. And the thing is that there's not a huge gap in how this car drives compared to the saloon. It's very, very similar. It has that same calm, unruffled, smooth, almost fractionally wallowy sensation to the way it drives when you're just gently tipping along. If you just drove this car around town, up and down the motorway, just normal driving, relatively low speeds, never trying anything too, shall we say, athletic with it, you'd probably never feel any difference between the way it drives and the way the saloon drives. They are all but identical. The only time that this coupe starts to reveal its slightly sportier, and it is only slightly, character is when you get it on a proper bit of twisty road and you really start to push it. And you have to push it quite hard. It's one of those cars that the chassis and the steering become better and better and better the harder and harder you work them. It's almost like you have to bring them down to the gym to get the best out of them. And while that's certainly entertaining, it's perhaps not the most practical arrangement, because you do have to press on a bit, and well, it's not always safe to do so, obviously. That said, there's enjoyment to be had from simply wafting around in this car at low and indeed even very low speeds. This engine, 194 horsepower, 400 newton meters of torque, and band A emissions, which is a pretty good combination for all the bad publicity that diesels had in the past while. Mercedes is still able to show why it's a viable concern for the moment. It's really, really good. It's really at the peak of this 2-litre 4-cylinder diesel class right now. It's so refined, it's so quiet, and yet has extremely good, if not over-the-top exceptional, mid-range punch and performance, and it'll easily get past 40-45 miles per gallon no matter how vigorously you drive it. In here, though, I think is the E-Class's star performer. It is the interior. This is absolutely beautiful, with the two big screens, the switchable digital instruments, the best Sat-Nav system I've used in quite a long time, this lineup of 4 gorgeous air vents, the sense of quality, the sense of comfort, amazingly good seats. It is so good in here. Now, the downsides to that are that obviously it's a lot smaller in the back than the saloon, and you only get 2 seats, so you are limited on a practical sense, which is not surprising. You know that when you're going in buying a coupe. But the other problem is that, and I think this is going to be a problem for the new 4-door CLS coupe as well, the interior is no different to that of the saloon. I mean, there's a few small stylistic touches that are different, but essentially it's the same. So you can get all of this, you can get all of the car's best bits for slightly less money with more practicality. Again, I know people don't buy coupes like that. It's not a rational decision. It's a decision born out of aesthetics. It's a decision born out of at least wanting to appear, if not actually be, more sporting, more dynamic, more exciting. But I don't know. It is a really good car to drive, and I really love the way it looks, and I could sit happily in this interior for the rest of my days and never move again from it. But for me, I'm just a practical, pernickety kind of person. I'd spend a bit less money and I'd get actually the E-Class Estate, because that's just fantastic. It's big, comfy, brilliant, practical, and drives every bit as well as this coupe. If you want the coupe, if you're a little bit of a show-off in you, well, that's fine. I certainly wouldn't judge you for choosing it. It is an extremely good car. Not entirely my bag of things, but hey, I can understand why you'd want one.